Hey, Potterheads, and welcome to episode 11 of the Secret Keepers podcast, covering Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, chapters 17 and 18. Previously on the Secret Keepers.
But they know one thing. It had to be a Gryffindor. Jared, who do you think it is?
I don't know anybody from Gryffindor.
Kill this time. Let me rip. Dare. If anyone wanted to find out some stuff, all they'd have to do was to follow the spiders. That'd lead them right. Which would be a really weird thing for someone to randomly say if they're getting taken into custody.
That would be so weird.
How much do you think an elephant-sized spider eats in a day?
That's a lot of little 12-year-old boys. I'd say about 4 or 5 boys a day.
What is it?
We do not speak of it. We do not name it.
Of the many fearsome beasts and monsters that roam our land, there is none more curious or more deadly than the basilisk. What do you want this time?
To ask you how you died.
It happened right in here. I died in this very stall. I remember it so well.
So once again, he stops to say, open up in parcel tongue. Which is what, Jared?
Wabanob.
Yeah, and the snake snakes part, and he walks in. This is the Secret Keepers.
That was four jumping.
That first clap sounded like you hit your pinkies together.
I did kind of hit my wrist there. Not great.
Anyways, yes, this would suck if after like 2 hours of podcasting you didn't record it. Oh,
Well, we'll find out. Hopefully that never happens.
It's not. It's gonna be a quick one anyways. Alright, we ready? Taylor.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, shoot. That's too early. I was going to come into the sweet music because it's the final episode of this book, you know. So welcome, everybody, to the final episode of this book, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Last we left off, where did we leave off last? It's been a long time. Oh, yeah, they just went into the chamber with Lockhart, right? Wait. I forgot. News of the day. Big news on our end over here.
Oh, I was going to say, your voice is sounding a little more daddish today.
Ooh, and my body's feeling a little more sluggish. That's right, everybody. I'm a dad now. Had a baby. I didn't. Maddie had a baby. And she's in good health so far. So that's good.
Both in good health.
Both in good health, yeah. She likes to cry a lot, and I'm going to embarrass her right now, so when she's listening to this in the future, congratulations, baby, you had your first blowout diaper at home today. Well, remember that.
Also,
did you clean it?
No, Maddie ended up doing it. It was on
have
Grandma.
You done any diaper?
Yeah, I did like 4 or 5 of them so
You've
far.
changed a few diapers?
4 or 5, yeah.
Poopy diapers?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Any good any good stories with any?
Not particularly, no. I don't get the really raunchy ones, but...
Oh, man.
Other news. Jared, what kind of news do you have for us today?
Well, the election's today. That's a pretty big deal.
The election, yeah.
By the time this podcast's out, we'll have a new president. Or
That's right.
Same president? How's that work?
Incumbent. But we're not here to make this political, so...
No, we are not. As much as we would like to.
Am I supposed to have other news today?
What?
Am I supposed to have other news today,
No,
or
I was
what?
just wondering.
Oh.
I got some news.
Taylor's got
We're all in the same room today.
Yeah, we're changing up the audio.
Hopefully it sounds better
Yeah,
than our normal trash Skype.
Hopefully it works out. Hey, don't bash on Skype. They might come back and sponsor us someday. You never know.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Anyways, let's dive into this episode. We've been kind of just sitting here long enough. Episode 11, I believe. Jared, why don't you hit us quickly with a 30-second summary? Go.
All right, chapter 18. We're back at it. In this chapter...
Hold on. We got to do chapter 17, too. We're covering chapter 17 and 18 this one. Oh, we should mention we did read chapter 17 to get Jared's actual reactions, but he still has to do a summary of it.
I don't remember the summary of chapter 17.
You only did a summary of 18?
I only did a summary of 18 because that's the only one I read for this week.
Oh,
it has been
man.
like a month.
Chapter 17 has been a long time.
Okay, well, give us your best summary of it.
Yeah.
Right
17.
now,
What
without
happened
looking, put the
after
book down.
After Lockhart or Ron exploded the wall and Lockhart and Ron are left behind conveniently, Harry walks into the Chamber of Secrets, and what happened?
He fights a snake.
That's it?
If he fights a big snake, there's a sorting hat. The pink flamingo comes down from the sky, saves his life.
Well, saves from who?
From the big old snake.
That's it? That's all is in there?
And Lord Voldemort is in there, disguised as Tom Riddle.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Tom Riddle's in there.
Dropping names.
Who else was in there?
Ginny. Ginny was in there. He saved her life. Yeah, so he killed the snake I think he chopped his head off with a sword after it came out of the sorting hat. Remember that correctly?
I'm misremembering the book and the movie. If he kills it the same way he does in the movie, he doesn't chop its head off, but he does stab it in like the mouth, right?
Yeah,
I don't remember. Anyways, he has a knife or a sword, and he kills the snake. And then he takes out. And then they all go back, and Professor Lockhart can't remember his own name or something like that. He can't remember anything.
Yep.
And they all go back.
And then chapter 18 happens. What happens in chapter 18?
Chapter 18, Harry describes all these events from chapter 17.
You still didn't know.
Well, that's kind of how it said it in the book, too, you know.
Is that your whole summary?
Yeah, well, Harry also... Harry Potter also frees Dobby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was a good 30-second summary.
Yeah. A little sidetrack there.
Yeah. Anyways, chapter 11. Nope. Episode 11, chapter 18. We'll do a little cut here, and we'll insert the stuff that the reading that we had. Hopefully, there's
we did a live reading. Was that the first time we did a live reading?
We did, and there's a couple parts where Taylor, our beloved Taylor, did the reading.
Yeah, I did. Well, you're gonna do the whole reading because I was getting kind of bored through most of it.
Yeah,
this is like the 15th time I read this book, so.
I mean, I think we should.
Oh, you're gonna read the whole thing? It took us a while, didn't it?
It took us like a half hour. I don't know. Oh. I mean, you can crop stuff out if you want.
I would definitely.
We didn't really
take some of it out.
We did talk about some of it.
Just get some highlights in there, you know.
Sure, yeah.
Anyways, let's jump back in time a minute.
What are we jumping back in time for?
Because we were doing a live reading.
Oh yeah. Okay, Jared, this is the sound effect. I was. Spit. Jared, hit us with a sound effect for going back in time.
I don't have a sound effect.
Yeah, hit us.
No.
All right, we're back in time. Okay, and now hit us for one coming back to. You ready? We're going to do a live reaction to the reading of this next chapter.
Oh.
So feel free to say whatever comes to mind. But I'm going to read. You can follow along. All right, here we go. The heir of Slytherin. He was standing at the end of a very long, dimly lit chamber. Towering stone pillars entwined with more carved serpents rose to support a ceiling lost in darkness, casting long, black shadows through the cold, greenish gloom that filled the place. His heart beating very fast, Harry stood listening.
You read way faster than I read my book.
And I'm talking aloud. Harry stood
and
listening.
I can't even understand what's going on.
Harry stood listening to the chill silence. Could the basilisk be lurking in a shadowy corner, behind a pillar? And where was Ginny? He pulled out his wand and moved forward between the serpentine columns. Every careful footstep echoed loudly off the shadowy walls. He kept his eyes narrowed, ready to clamp them shut at the smallest sign of movement. The hollow eye sockets of the stone snakes seemed to be following him. More than once, with the jolt of his stomach, he thought he saw one stir. Then, as he drew level with the last pair of pillars, a statue high as the chamber itself loomed into view, standing against the back wall.
The suspense is killing me.
Oh, man. This is just something else. Harry had to crane his neck to look up at the giant face above. It was an ancient and monkeyish, with a long thin beard that fell almost to the bottom of the wizard's sweeping stone robes, where two enormous gray feet stood on the smooth chamber floor. In between the feet, face down, lay a small black-robed figure with flaming red hair. "Ginny!" Harry muttered, sprinting to her and dropping to his knees. "Ginny, don't be dead! Please don't be dead!" He flung his wand aside, grabbing Ginny's shoulders, and turned her over. Her face was white as marble and cold, yet her eyes were closed. So she wasn't petrified, but then she must be... "Ginny, please wake up!" Harry muttered desperately, shaking her. Ginny's head lolled about hopelessly from side to side. "She won't wake," said a soft voice. Let me repeat that. "She won't wake," said a soft voice. Harry jumped and spun around on his knees. A tall, black-haired boy was leaning against the nearest pillar, watching. He was strangely blurred around the edges, as though Harry were looking at him through a misted window. But there was no mistaking him. Tom? Tom Riddle? Riddle nodded, not taking his eyes off Harry's face.
So
What
he's
do you
not a
mean?
ghost. That's why I asked earlier.
What did you ask earlier?
I asked what happened to Tom Riddle. I think.
Yeah, you definitely asked him. I forget what you said.
I said, why isn't he a ghost somewhere or something?
Yeah, because you thought he was dead.
Right.
Or we're not dead. But...
We speculated on what he was, but anyways.
So Jared, do you think this is the guy Harry's got to help him to defeat it? Right here, as we were talking earlier.
I don't know. Sure. Any means necessary.
Riddle's gonna help him kill the snake. Okay.
Right.
No.
What?
I don't know. Riddle's been down here for eons and he hasn't seen the snake or hasn't died. Well, I guess he's also a parcel mouth.
Who is?
Riddle.
Why?
Because we knew that already earlier.
We did?
I think so.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think we did.
I think we did.
Oh, okay.
Or I just assumed he was.
Okay.
You assume, right.
So you don't know who this Riddle guy is yet?
No, we
What
don't.
do you mean I don't know who this Riddle guy is?
Tom Riddle.
He's Tom Riddle.
Yeah?
Okay.
He's the diary guy, right?
He's the diary guy, yep.
Okay.
What do you mean she won't wake? Harry said desperately. She's not. She's still alive, said Riddle, but only just. Harry stared at him. Tom Riddle had been at Hogwarts 50 years ago, yet here he stood, a weird, misty lighting shining about him, not a day older than 16. Are you a ghost? Harry asked uncertainly. A memory, said Riddle quietly, preserved in a diary for 50 years. He pointed towards the door near the statue's giant toes. Lying open there was a little black diary Harry had found in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. For a second, Harry wondered how it had got there. There were more pressing matters to deal with. You've got to help me, Tom, Harry said, raising Ginny's head again. We've got to get her out of here. There's a basilisk. I don't know where it is, but it could be along any moment. Please help me. Riddle didn't move. Harry, sweating, managing to hoist Ginny half off the floor, and bent to pick up his wand again, but his wand had gone. Did you see? He looked up. Riddle was still watching him, twirling Harry's wand between his fingers. Thanks, said Harry, stretching out his hand for it. A smile curled up the corners of Riddle's mouth. He continued to stare at Harry, twirling the wand idly. Listen, said Harry urgently, his knees sagging with Ginny's dead weight. We've got to go. If the basilisk comes. It won't come until it's called, said Riddle calmly. Harry lowered Ginny back onto the floor, unable to hold her up any longer. What do you mean? He said, "Look, give me a wand. I might need it." Riddle's smile broadened. "You won't be needing it," he said. Harry stared at him. "What do you mean I won't be?" "I've waited a long time for this, Harry Potter," said Riddle. "For the chance to see you, to speak to you." "Look," said Harry, losing patience, "I don't think you get it. We're in the Chamber of Secrets. We can talk later." "We're going to talk now," said Riddle, still smiling broadly, and he pocketed Harry's wand. Harry stared at him. There was something very funny going on here. "How did Ginny get like this?" he asked slowly. "Well, that's an interesting question," said Riddle pleasantly, "and quite a long story. I suppose the real reason Ginny Weasley's like this is because she opened her heart and spilled all her secrets to an invisible stranger." "What are you talking about?" said Harry. "The diary," said Riddle. "My diary. Little Ginny's been writing in it for months and months, telling me her pitiful worries and woes, how her brothers tease her, how she had to come to school with second-hand robes and books, how—" Riddle's eyes glinted. "How she didn't think famous, good, great Harry Potter would ever like her." All the time he spoke, Riddle's eyes never left Harry's face. There was almost an hungry look in them. "It's very boring, having to listen to the silly little troubles of an 11-year-old girl," he went on, "but I was patient. I wrote back. I was sympathetic. I was kind. Ginny simply loved me. No one's ever understood me like you, Tom. I'm so glad I've got this diary to confide in. It's like having a friend I can carry around in my pocket." Riddle laughed, a high, cold laugh that didn't suit him. It made the hairs on the back of Harry's neck. It made the hair stand up on the back of Harry's neck. "If I say it myself, Harry, I've always been able to charm the people I needed, so Ginny poured her soul to me, and her soul happened to be exactly what I wanted. I grew stronger and stronger on a diet of her deepest fears, her darkest secrets. I grew powerful, far more powerful than little Miss Weasley, powerful enough to start feeding Miss Weasley's a few of my secrets, to start pouring a little of my soul back into her." "What do you mean?" said Harry, whose mouth had gone very dry. "Haven't you guessed it yet, Harry Potter?" said Riddle softly. "Ginny Weasley opened the Chamber of Secrets. She strangled the school roosters and daubed threatening messages on the wall. She sent the Serpent of Slytherin on 4 mudbloods and the Squib's cat." "No," Harry whispered. "Yes," said Riddle calmly. "Of course, she didn't know what she was doing at first. It was very amusing. I wish you could have seen her new diary entries. Far more interesting they became. 'Dear Tom,'" he recited, watching Harry's horrified face. "I think I'm losing my memory. There are rooster feathers all over my robes. I don't know how they got there. Dear Tom, I can't remember what I did on the night of Halloween, but a cat was attacked, and I've got paint all over my all down my front. Dear Tom, Percy keeps telling me I'm pale, and I'm not myself. I think he suspects me. There's another attack today. I don't know where I was, Tom. What am I going to do? I think I'm going mad. I think I'm the one attacking everyone, Tom." Harry's fists were clenched. The nails dug deep into his palms. "It took a very long time for stupid little Jenny to stop trusting her diary," said Riddle, "but she became very suspicious and tried to dispose of it. And that's where you came in, Harry. You found it. And I couldn't have been more delighted. Of all the people who could have picked it up, it was you, the very person I was most anxious to meet." "And why did you want to meet me?" asked Harry. Anger was coursing through him. It was an effort to keep his voice steady. "Well, you see, Ginny told me all about you, Harry," said Riddle. "Your whole fascinating history." His eyes roved over the lightning scar on Harry's forehead, and the expression grew hungrier. "I knew I must find out more from you, about you, talk to you, meet you if I could, so I decided to show you my famous capture of the great oaf Hagrid to gain your trust." "Hagrid's my friend," said Harry, his voice now shaking. "And you framed him, didn't you? I thought you had made a mistake, but—" Riddle laughed his high laugh again. "It was my word against Hagrid's, Harry. Well, you can imagine how it looked to old Armando Dippet. On the one hand, Tom Riddle, poor but brilliant, parentless but so brave, school prefect, model student. On the other hand, big, blundering Hagrid, in trouble every other week, trying to raise werewolf cubs under his bed, sneaking off to the Forbidden Forest to wrestle trolls. But I admit, even I was surprised how well the plan worked. I thought someone must realize that Hagrid couldn't possibly be the heir of Slytherin. It had taken me 5 whole years to find everything I could about the Chamber of Secrets and discover the secret entrance, as though Hagrid had the brains or the power. Only the Transfiguration teacher, Dumbledore, seemed to think Hagrid was innocent. He persuaded Dippet to keep Hagrid and trained him as gamekeeper. Yes, I think Dumbledore might have guessed. Dumbledore never seemed to like me as much as the other teachers did. I bet Dumbledore saw right through you, said Harry, his teeth gritted. Well, he certainly kept an annoyingly close watch on me after Hagrid was expelled, said Riddle carelessly. I knew it wouldn't be safe to open the Chamber of Secrets, the chamber again, while I was still at school. But I wasn't going to waste these long years I spent searching for it. I decided to leave behind a diary, preserving my 16-year-old self in its pages, so that one day, with luck, I'd be able to lead another in my footsteps and finish Salazar Slytherin's noble work. Oh, do you want
We can start there.
to see what Jared thinks about this Tom Riddle guy?
Trying to soak everything in here. My initial reaction, like just going through that, is that I still don't believe it's Tom Riddle.
Well,
That it's Voldemort through him or something.
Like Voldemort's taking over his body like he did to Ginny.
Sure. Yes.
okay.
So, yeah, did...
And he's using love to try and, or using the things that Harry likes to try and rouse Harry a little bit.
So you think Harry loves Ginny?
Well, somewhat sure. Secretly.
Okay.
I don't know. He likes Hagrid too.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I don't have much other questions. Just seeing what your thoughts were at this point. But
All right, we'll keep going. I would like to be able to lead another in my footsteps and finish Salazar Slytherin's noble work. Well, you haven't finished it, said Harry triumphantly. No one's died this time, not even the cat. In a few hours, the mandrake drought will be ready, and everyone who is petrified will be right again. Haven't I told you already? Haven't I already told you, said Riddle quietly, that killing mudbloods doesn't matter to me anymore? For many months now, my target has been you. Harry stared at him. Imagine how angry I was when the next day after my diary was opened, it was Ginny who was writing to me, not you. She saw you with the diary, you see, and panicked. What if you found out how to work it, and I repeated all her secrets to you? What if, even worse, I told you who'd been strangling roosters? So the foolish little brat waited until your dormitory was deserted and stole it back. But I knew what I must do. It was clear to me that you were...
Yeah, see, I don't believe any of this story.
You don't believe any of the story?
No.
so you don't even the
Currently, I don't
Currently?
believe any of it.
So the part where he got Ginny to do all this stuff, you don't believe any of that?
He maybe went into Ginny or something. I don't know. There might be an element of truth, but it's not like he accidentally picked Ginny, or I don't know.
Do you think Ginny just happened upon this diary somewhere?
I don't think Ginny would have tried to find it on her own, of her own power.
Okay.
But I don't know, I guess.
So, how much of this stuff that Tom Riddle's telling us right now do you believe?
I'm trying to understand it as it goes. like trying to line up all these pieces in my head.
Well, let's
Okay.
get a couple more paragraphs in,
Well,
and I think...
Let's start where he started. So he said he's a memory, and he's been feeding off of her memories that she's feeding to him. Do you believe that?
Who? Voldemort or Riddle?
Riddle.
Voldemort is feeding off these memories.
Voldemort is?
Yes.
Where does Voldemort come into play here?
Because he's Riddle. Or he's inside of Riddle.
He's inside of a memory of a boy from 50 years ago. Listen to yourself, Jared.
Don't read ahead.
I'm not. I'm trying. I don't know. I'm trying to line it up.
Okay, well,
Okay.
The story
well-
is not lining up to me in my brain.
Okay.
So the fact that that Ginny, like he got Ginny to kill the roosters and to paint the threatening words and to set the serpent on the mudbloods, you don't believe any of that.
He might have.
It all makes sense, though, doesn't
I mean,
it?
that's kind of his whole story, so you can't. I mean, is there more to it than that?
And we're pretty close to the end of the book, so I don't think there's any.
Whatever. Get out of here with that garbage.
Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. All right. He was mad when Ginny stole the thing back, and he knew what he had to do. It was clear to me that you were on the trail of Slytherin's heir. From everything Ginny had told me about you, I knew that you would go to any lengths to solve the mystery, particularly if one of your best friends was attacked. And Ginny had told me the whole school was buzzing because you could speak Parseltongue. So I made Ginny write her own farewell on the wall and come down here to wait. She struggled and cried and became very boring because there isn't much life left in her. What?
You back into the voice, man.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
Kind of like,
Yeah.
you're like Professor Binns right now, just. I'm
trying to get to the good part. But there isn't much life left in her. She put too much into the diary, into me, enough to let me leave its pages at last. I have been waiting for you. So he basically got and fed off her enough so that he's alive as he is right now, in a sense, is what he's saying. I've been waiting for you to appear since we arrived here. I knew you'd come. I have many questions for you, Harry Potter. Like what? Harry spat, fists still clenched. Well, said Riddle, smiling pleasantly, how is it that you, a skinny boy with no extraordinary magical talent, managed to defeat the greatest wizard of all time? How did you escape with nothing but a scar while Lord Voldemort's power were destroyed? There was an odd red gleam in his hungry eyes now. Why do you care how I escaped? Said Harry slowly. Voldemort was after your time. Voldemort, said Riddle softly, is my past, present, and future, Harry Potter. Okay, turn the page, Jared. He pulled Harry's wand from his pocket and began to trace it through the air, writing 3 shimmering words I'd imagine much like a sparkler going through one of those time-lapse photos. Tom Marvolo Riddle. And then he waved the wand once, and the letters of his name rearranged themselves. I am Lord Voldemort.
Dun, dun, dun. You know what would be really funny? Is if like his middle name was like Marvolog, and he just had a G in there. And so at the end of his name it was like, I am Lord Voldemort G. How about that, huh? You still with us? Did your head blow up?
That kind of makes sense. Told you I wouldn't really be surprised if anything happens.
Okay. Well, let's keep reading and see what happens. You see, he whispered, it was a name I was already using at Hogwarts, to most of my intimate friends only, of course. You think I was going to use my filthy Muggle father's name forever? I, in whose veins runs the blood of Salazar Slytherin himself, through my mother's side, I keep the name of a fool, of a foul, common Muggle, who abandoned me even before I was born just because he found out his wife was a witch? No, Harry. I fashioned myself a new name, a name I knew wizards everywhere would one day fear to speak, when I had become the greatest sorcerer in the world. Harry's brain seemed to have been jammed. He stared numbly at Riddle, at the orphaned boy who had grown up to murder Harry's own parents and so many others. At last he found himself to speak.
Hold up here, 1 second. So, Jared, how does Harry get out of this pickle?
What pickle? He doesn't have his wand?
He doesn't. That Voldemort has his wand. That there's a basilisk, and that Voldemort's there with a wand.
Magic.
There's a snake somewhere too. Don't forget.
I don't know. I mean, how did Voldemort put it? How does a man of you who has no extraordinary talent, where's that say that?
Yeah, it's right before the reveal.
I don't know. There's still something we don't know.
Okay.
He does have some talent that hasn't been revealed.
Okay. But at last he found Harry's brain seemed to have jammed. He stared numbly at Riddle, the orphan boy who'd come to murder his father. At last he found him, forced himself to speak. "You're not," he said, his voice full of hatred. "Not what?" snapped Riddle. "Not the greatest sorcerer in the world," said Harry, breathing fast. "Sorry to disappoint you and all that, but the greatest wizard in the world is Albus Dumbledore. Everyone says so. Even when you were strong, you didn't dare try and take over Hogwarts. Dumbledore saw through you when you were at school, and he still frightens you now, wherever you're hiding these days." The smile had gone from Riddle's face, replaced by a very ugly look. "Dumbledore's been driving out of this castle by the mere memory of me," he hissed. "He's not as gone as you might think," Harry retorted. He was speaking at random, wanting to scare Riddle, wishing rather than believing it to be true. Riddle opened his mouth but froze. Music was coming from somewhere. Riddle whirled around, stared down the empty chamber. Music was growing louder. It was an eerie, spine-tingling, unearthly. He lifted the hair on Harry's scalp and made his heart feel as though it was swelling to twice its normal size. Then, as the music reached such a pitch that Harry felt it vibrating inside his own ribs, flames erupted at the top of the nearest pillar. A crimson bird, the size of a swan, had appeared, piping its weird music to the vaulted ceiling. It had a glittering golden tail as long as a peacock's and gleaming golden talons, which were gripping a ragged bundle. A second later,
It's a flamingo!
A second later, the bird was flying straight at Harry. It dropped the ragged thing it was carrying at its feet and landed heavily on his shoulder. As it folded its great wings, Harry looked up and saw it had a long, sharp golden beak and a beady black eye. The bird stopped singing. I'm getting back into Professor Binns mode. It sat still and warm next to Harry's cheek, gazing steadily at Riddle. "That's a phoenix," said Riddle, staring shrewdly back at it. "Fox?" said Harry. Harry breathed. He felt the bird's golden claws squeeze his shoulder gently. "And that," said Riddle, now eyeing the ragged thing that Fox had dropped, "that's the old school sorting hat." Bet you didn't see that coming, Jared. So it
Nope.
was. Patched and frayed and dirty, the hat lay motionless at Harry's feet. Riddle began to laugh again. He laughed so hard that the dark chamber rang with it, as though 10 riddles were laughing at once. "This is what Dumbledore sends his defender, a songbird and an old hat. Do you feel brave, Harry Potter? Do you feel safe now?" I wouldn't feel very safe. Harry didn't answer. He might not see what use Fox or the Sorting Hat were, but he was no longer alone. He waited for Riddle to stop laughing, with his courage mounting. "To business, Harry," said Riddle, and smiling broadly. "Twice in your past, in my future, we have met, and twice I have failed to kill you. How did you survive? Tell me everything. The longer you talk," he added softly, "the longer you stay alive." Harry was thinking fast, weighing his chances. Riddle had the wand. He, Harry, and Fox, and the Sorting Hat, neither of which would be much good in a duel. It looked bad, all right. But the longer Riddle stood there, the more life was dwindling out of Ginny. In the meantime, Harry noticed suddenly Riddle's outline became clearer, more solid. If it had to be a fight between him and Riddle, better sooner than later. "No one knows why you lost your powers when you attacked me," said Harry abruptly. "I don't know myself, but I know why you couldn't kill me. Because my mother died to save me. My common muggle-born mother," he added, shaking with suppressed rage. "She stopped you killing me, and I've seen the real you. I saw you last year. You're a wreck. You're barely alive. That's where all your power got you. You're in hiding. You're ugly. You're foul." Riddle's face contorted. Then he forced it into an awful smile. "So your mother died to save you?" "Yes." That's a powerful counter-charm. I can see now there's nothing special about you after all. I wondered, you see, because there are strange likenesses between us, Harry Potter. Even you must have noticed. Both half-bloods, orphans, raised by muggles, probably the only two Parselmouths to come to Hogwarts since the great Slytherin himself. We even look something alike. But after all, it was merely a lucky chance that saved you from me. That's all I wanted to know. Harry stood tense, waiting for Riddle to raise his wand. But Riddle's twisted smile was widening again. Now, Harry, I'm going to teach you a little lesson. Let's match the powers of Lord Voldemort, heir of Salazar Slytherin, against famous Harry Potter and the best weapons Dumbledore can give him. He cast an amused eye over Fawkes and the Sorting Hat, then walked away. Harry, fear spreading down his numb legs, watched Riddle stop between the high pillars and looked into the stone face of Slytherin, high above him in the half-darkness. Riddle opened his mouth wide and hissed, but Harry understood what he was saying. Speak to me. Harry wheeled around to look up at the statue of Salazar Slytherin, Fawkes swaying on his shoulders. Slytherin's gigantic stone face was moving. Horror struck, Harry saw his mouth open wider and wider to make a huge black hole, and something was stirring inside the statue's mouth. Something was slithering up from its depths. Harry backed away until he hit the dark chamber wall, and as he shut his eyes, he felt Fawkes' wings sweep his cheekbone as he took flight. Harry wanted to shout, "Don't leave me!" But what chance did a phoenix have against the king of serpents? Something huge hit the stone floor of the chamber. Harry felt it shudder. He knew what was happening. He could sense it. Could see the great serpent uncoiling itself from Slytherin's mouth. Then he heard Riddle's hissing voice, "Kill him!"
And what happens next, Jared?
Chop.
Merlin, and Merlin gets petrified.
No, he's got to come back.
No, he's petrified.
Oh.
Harry looks over and Merlin just topples over. He must have seen him through his glasses or something.
Okay, so now that that's out of the way, Basilisk was moving toward Harry. He could hear its heavy body slithering heavily across the dusty floor. Eyes still tightly shut, Harry began to run blindly sideways, his hands outstretched, feeling his way. Voldemort was laughing. Harry tripped, fell hard into the stone, and tasted blood. The serpent was barely feet from him. He could hear it coming. There was a loud, explosive spitting sound right above him. And then something heavy hit Harry so hard he was smashed under the wall. Waiting for fangs to sink through his body, he heard more mad hissing, something thrashing wildly off the pillars. He couldn't help it. He opened his eyes wide enough to squint at what was going on. The enormous serpent, bright, poisonous green, thick as an oak trunk, had raised itself high in the air, and a great blunt head was weaving drunkenly around between the pillars. As Harry trembled, ready to close his eyes as if it turned, he saw what had distracted the snake. Fawkes was soaring around its head, and the basilisk was snapping furiously at him with fangs long and thin as sabers. Fawkes dived. His long golden beak sank out of sight, and a sudden shower of dark blood spattered the floor. The snake's tail thrashed, narrowly missing Harry. Before Harry could shut his eyes, it turned. Harry looked straight into its face and saw that its eyes, both its great bulbous yellow eyes, had been punctured by the phoenix. Blood was streaming to the floor, and the snake was spitting in agony. "No!" Harry heard Riddle screaming. "Leave the bird! Leave the bird! The boy is behind you! You can still smell him! Kill him!" The blinded serpent swayed, confused, still deadly. Fawkes was circling its head, piping its eerie song, jabbing here and there at its scaly nose as the blood poured from its ruined eyes. "Help me! Help me!" Harry muttered wildly. "Someone! Anyone!" The snake's tail whipped across the floor. Harry ducked. Something soft hit his face. The basilisk had swept the Sorting Hat into Harry's arms. How convenient. Harry seized it. It was all he had left, his only chance. He rammed it onto his head and threw himself flat on the floor as the basilisk's tail swung over him again. Help me, Harry thought, his eyes screwed tight under that. Please help me. There was no answering voice. Instead, the hat contracted, as though an invisible hand was squeezing it very tightly. Something very hard and heavy thudded under the top of Harry's head, almost knocking him out. Stars winking in front of his eyes, he grabbed the top of the hat to pull it off, and felt something long and hard beneath it. A gleaming silver sword had appeared inside the hat. Its handle glittered with rubies the size of eggs. Kill the boy! Leave the bird! The boy's behind your sniff! Smell him! I don't have any energy left for that.
No, you don't.
Here he was on his feet, ready. The basilisk's head was falling, its body coiling around him, hitting the pillars as it twisted to face him. He could see the vast, bloody eye sockets, see the mouth stretching wide enough to swallow him whole, lined with fangs long as his sword. Glittering, venomous. It lunged blindly. Harry dodged it and hit the chamber wall. It lunged again, and its forked tongues lashed Harry's side. He raised the sword in both hands. The basilisk lunged again, and this time its aim was true. Harry threw his whole weight behind his sword and drove it to the hilt into the roof of the serpent's mouth. But as the warm blood drenched Harry's arms, he felt a searing pain just above his elbow. One long poisonous fang was sinking deeper and deeper into his arm, and it splintered as the basilisk kneeled over sideways and fell, twitching to the floor. Harry slid down the wall. He gripped the fang that was spreading poison through his body and wrenched it out of his arm. But he knew it was too late. White-hot pain was spreading slowly and steadily from the wound. Even as he dropped the fang and watched his own blood soaking his robes, his vision went foggy. The chamber was dissolving into a whirl of dull color. A patch of scarlet swam past, and Harry heard a soft clatter of claws behind him. "Fox," said Harry thickly. "You were fantastic, Fox." He felt the bird lay its beautiful head on the spot where the serpent's fang had pierced him. He could hear echoing footsteps, and a dark shadow moved in front of him. "You're dead, Harry Potter," said Riddle's voice above him. "Dead. Even Dumbledore's bird knows it. Do you see what he's doing, Potter? He's crying." Harry blinked. Fox's head slid in and out of focus. Thick, pearly tears were trickling down the glossy feathers. "I'm going to sit here and watch you die, Harry Potter. Take your time. I'm in no hurry." Harry felt drowsy. Everything around him seemed to be spinning. "So ends the famous Harry Potter," said Riddle's distant voice. "Alone in the Chamber of Secrets, forsaken by his friends, defeated at last by the Dark Lord he so unwisely challenged. You'll be back with your dear mudblood mother soon, Harry. She brought you 12 years of borrowed time. But Lord Voldemort got you in the end, as you knew he must." If this is still dying, thought Harry, it's not so bad. Even the pain was leaving him. But was this dying? Instead of going black, the chamber seemed to be coming back to focus. Harry gave his head a little shake, and there was Fox, still resting his head on Harry's arm. A pearly patch of tears was shining all around the wound, except that there was no wound. "Get away, bird," said Riddle's voice suddenly. "Get away from him. I said get away." Harry raised his head. Riddle was pointing Harry's wand at Fox. There was a bang like a gun, and Fox took flight again with a whirl of gold and scarlet. "Phoenix tears," said Riddle quietly, staring at Harry's arm. "Of course. Healing powers. I forgot."
Did you remember?
I did, from Myrtle or whatever.
Right. That's right, Jared.
You looked into Harry's...
Voldemort is so dumb.
Voldemort is...
Yeah, I mean, how could you not remember that?
He's not hanging around with Merlin Irwin. That's his problem.
You looked into Harry's face, but it makes no difference. In fact, I prefer it this way. Just you and me, Harry Potter. You and me. He raised his wand. Then, in a rush of wings, Fox had soared back overhead and something fell onto Harry's lap. The diary. For a split second, both Harry and Riddle, wand still raised, stared at it. Then, without thinking, without considering, as though he had meant it to do it all along,
Harry took a flower plant and just planted it right on top of this book.
Harry seized the basilisk fang on the floor next to him and plunged it straight into the heart of the book. There was a long, dreadful, piercing scream. Ink sputtered out of the diary in torrents, streaming over Harry's hands, flooding the floor. Riddle was writhing and twisting, screaming and flailing, and then Harry killed another person.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. What's next? Who's he gonna kill next book? He had gone. Harry's wand fell to the floor with a clatter, and there was silence. Silence except for the steady drip, drip of ink still oozing from the diary. The basilisk's venom had burned a sizzling hole right through it. Shaking all over, Harry pulled himself up. His head was spinning as though he had just traveled miles by flue powder. Remember what that is, Jerry? Or Jared? Jared?
Yeah, that's the stuff you dump into the fire pit and you can travel.
You go flute.
You are just getting engulfed in this wizarding world, I can tell. Slowly, he gathered his wand and the sorting hat, and with a huge tug, retrieved the glittering sword from the roof of the basilisk's mouth. Then came a faint moan from the end of the chamber. Ginny was stirring, and Harry hurried toward her. He sat up. Her bemused eyes traveled from the huge form of the dead basilisk over Harry in his blood-soaked robes to the diary in his hand. She drew a great shuddering gasp, and tears began to pour down her face. Harry, oh Harry, I tried to tell you at breakfast, but I couldn't say it in front of Percy. It was me, Harry. But I swear I didn't mean to. Riddle made me. He took me over, and how did he tell you that? How did he kill you? That thing? How kill that thing? Where's Riddle? The last thing I remember is him coming out of the diary. Right, said Harry, holding up the diary and showing Ginny the fang hole. Riddle's finished. Look, him and the basilisk. Come on, Ginny, let's get out of here. I'm going to be expelled, Ginny wept as Harry helped her awkwardly to her feet. I've looked forward to come...
she hit puberty.
I've looked forward to coming to Hogwarts ever since Bill came, and now I have to leave, and what will Mom and Dad say? Fox was waiting for them, hovering in the chamber entrance. Harry urged Ginny forward and stepped over the motionless coils of the dead basilisk. Through the echoing gloom and back into the tunnel, Harry heard the stone doors close behind him with a soft hiss. After a few minutes' progress up the dark tunnel, a distant sound of slowly shifting rock reached Harry's ears. Ron! Harry yelled, speeding up. Ginny's okay! I've got her! And he heard Ron give a strangled cheer, and they turned the next bend to see his eager face staring through the sizable gap he had managed to make in the rockfall. Ginny! Ron thrust an arm through the gap in the rock to pull. Man, this chapter's still not done yet.
We're almost done.
Pull her through. You're alive. I don't believe it. What happened? What? Where did that bird come from? Fox had swooped through the gap after Ginny. He's Dumbledore, said Harry, squeezing through himself. How come you got a sword? Said Ron, gaping at the glittering weapon in Harry's hand. I'll explain when we get out of here, said Harry with a sideways glance at Ginny, who was crying harder than ever. But later, Harry said shortly. He didn't think it was a good idea to tell Ron, who had been opening the chamber, not in front of Ginny anyway. Where's Lockhart? Back there, said Ron, still looking puzzled and jerking his head up toward the pipe. He's in a bad way. Come and see. Led by Fox, whose scarlet wings emitted a soft golden glow in the darkness, they walked all the way back to the mouth. Soft golden glow in the darkness. They walked all the way back to the mouth of the pipe, to where Lockhart was sitting there, humming placidly to himself. His memory's gone, said Ron. The memory charm backfired. Hit him instead of us. He hasn't got a clue who he is, or where he is, or who we are. I told him to come and wait here. He's a danger to himself. Lockhart appeared good-naturedly up at them all. Hello, he said. Odd sort of place, isn't it? Do you live here? No, said Ron, raising his eyebrows at Harry. Harry bent down and looked up the long, dark pipe. Have you thought how we're going to get back up this? He said to Ron.
Jared, how are they going to get out of this?
Ride the flamingo.
Yes.
Ron shook his head, but Fox the Phoenix had swooped past Harry and was now flirting in front of him, his beady eyes bright in the dark. He was waving his long golden tail feathers. Harry looked uncertainly at him. He looks like he wants you to grab hold, said Ron, looking up, perplexed. But you're much too heavy for a bird to pull you up there. Fox, said Harry, isn't an ordinary bird. He turned quickly to the others. Forgot to get hold on each other. Ginny, grab Ron's hand. Professor Lockhart. He means you, said Ron sharply to Lockhart. You hold Ginny's other hand. Harry tucked the sword and the sword net into his belt. Ron took hold of the back of Harry's robes, and Harry reached out, took hold of Fox's strangely hot tail feathers. An extraordinary lightness seemed to spread through his whole body, and the next second, in a rush of wings, they were flying upwards through the pipe. Harry could hear Lockhart dangling below him, saying, "Amazing! Amazing! This is just like magic!"
It sounds just like Jared.
The chill air was whipping through Harry's hair, and before he'd stopped enjoying the ride, it was over. All four of them were hitting the wet floor of Moaning Myrtle's bathroom, and as Lockhart straightened his hat, the sink that hid the pipe was sliding back into place. Myrtle giggled at him. "You're alive," she said blankly to Harry. "There's no need to sound so disappointed," he said grimly, wiping flecks of blood and slime off his glasses. "Oh, well, I'd just been thinking, if you had died, you'd been welcome to share my toilet," said Myrtle, blushing silver. Said Ron, as they left the bathroom for the dark, deserted corridor outside. "Harry, I think Myrtle's grown fond of you. You got competition, Ginny." But tears were still flooding silently down Ginny's face. "Where now?" said Ron with an anxious look at Ginny. Harry pointed. Fox was leading the way, glowing gold along the corridor. They strode after him, and moments later found themselves outside Professor McGonagall's office. Harry knocked and pushed open the door. Oh man, I am very exhausted.
So ends the chapter. Yeah, you were really speeding it up at the end there. Whew. So how about that, Jared?
It's a good chapter.
Yep, okay. You believe Riddle now? Did you see that one coming?
Well, I mean, I guess I kind of thought that Voldemort was somehow inside of him, but
Turns out you were right. Kind of.
I knew Voldemort was connected in some way, but I couldn't really figure out how.
Well,
But it makes sense.
Hindsight's 20/20, right? It all makes perfect sense now.
Right, exactly.
Except for one thing.
Wait, don't tell me. It's all made sense to me so far. I'm all good. I can sleep tonight, and
I'm actually interested in where Taylor's going with this.
How did Ginny get the diary?
Oh yeah, we don't know that.
it wasn't Ginny. See,
And
We also don't
we
know.
don't know what Percy was up to.
And we don't know who was trying to. Oh, no, actually, we do. We do know that was Dobby. Never mind. Yeah. So, Jared, any hot takes on who the heir of Slytherin is now?
Voldemort.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to Taylor's question, I don't think it was Ginny who rumbled through all Harry's stuff.
Oh, you don't. So you think there's
I don't.
another person that we have to figure out who it is yet?
I don't know.
Well, maybe not that, but where did Ginny get the diary in the first place?
Well, so Harry had it and then he didn't.
Well, Harry had it in that he never had. He got it like midway through the book, right? So Ginny had
when Ginny got it and threw it down the toilet and then.
Yeah, like so. When did Ginny? Where did Ginny get it from originally? That's what we don't know. And then I guess who got it out of Harry's little closet thing, whatever, for whatever reason.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
I think we'll ever find out, Jared.
Probably.
I guess we'll figure that out next time.
Or in like 2 minutes when we talk about it.
Well, yeah, when we talk about it again.
Yeah.
I guess that would be the next chapter. And it was great. Also, Jared, great job on the 30-second summary in this episode. Like, it was really fantastic. It was really in depth, and you even did it with a British accent. I'm so impressed.
What? I'm lost.
Yeah, I guess anything else we need to add here? We can just cut back to the regularly scheduled programming.
What was my one going back? Then the other one go.
And we're back. What a great sound effect, Jared. Thank you for that. All right. Chapter 18, Dobby's Reward. This chapter begins with Harry, Ron, and Ginny and Lockhart showing up, I think, in Dumbledore's office. And Mr. and Mrs. Weasley swarm them with hugs and stuff. And then they asked Harry how on earth all this happened. And then Harry tells them all the events of Chapter 17. Just like Jared said. So he spends the next hour telling him the details from when he first heard the voice until now. Do you think he told him about the invisibility cloak?
Does he need to?
No.
You don't think he did?
Does it say he did?
I don't know. I don't
No.
think it did.
I don't remember.
Nope.
Okay.
I read this like a month ago.
Yeah, I know.
I read it about 2 hours ago.
Dumbledore asks how Voldemort was able to enchant Ginny when his sources tell him that Voldemort is in the forest in Albania somewhere. So there you have a rough estimate, Jared, of where he is right now. Remember that for next book. We'll be asking you that.
Wasn't Merlin Irwin in Albania?
He was for a little bit,
I
but
thought he was.
yeah,
Interesting. I wonder if
He's-
he ran across.
I will have to ask him
You
next
know
time
who?
we meet him. He did end up getting petrified in the chamber. I do remember that.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
He must have made eye contact
Yeah.
with a puddle or
Yep.
something.
He did see reflection off a puddle. Harry tells him all about the diary, and Dumbledore realizes that he realizes and tells us that Tom traveled far and wide after school, dabbling in many dark arts, and underwent many magical transformations, and he came back unrecognizable. Ginny then tells us how she was writing to the diary, and she found in one of her books, and how it wrote back. And then Dumbledore quickly dismisses this and says there's no punishment needed, and sends her off to the hospital wing where the mandrake juice is being administered. So maybe we will get a chance to talk to Merlin this episode.
Via mandrakes?
We're not gonna.
Oh, shoot.
He's not in this one. McGonagall then leaves and tells Dumbledore that she'll leave Harry and Ron to him. Dumbledore gives Ron and Harry awards for special services to the school, and of course, 200 points apiece. He then asks what's the deal with Lockhart, and Ron tells him that he was hit by his own spell backfiring. And then Dumbledore says, oh, Taylor, you want to give us this?
Dimmy! I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that was good.
Said Dumbledore, shaking his head, his long silver mustache quivering. Looks probably a lot like mine. It is No Shave November. Impaled upon your own sword, Gilderoy.
So, this brings up a question. So, somehow, Dumbledore knew this was Lockhart's thing. Right? Impaled upon your own sword, Gilderoy?
He must have, because it hadn't mentioned it before, right?
So why on earth would he even hire him then? Or let him go down into the chamber with 2 students?
Well, I'm guessing he, once he heard Harry say it was a memory charm, he put 2 and 2 together.
So you don't think he knew beforehand?
Maybe not.
He didn't let him down, did he? Was he around when that happened?
Oh, no,
No.
Dumbledore wasn't. Was he?
No.
No, he wasn't, because McGonagall was the headmaster. Or
Right.
mistress.
Yeah. Unless Dumbledore
But still, it
became
would.
invisible.
I guess if he did know beforehand and and he knew and let Lockhart teach, that's kind of reason to be expelled from or kicked out of the school headmaster, I would say.
I don't know. I'm guessing he just thought he was someone who just exaggerated a lot about all his stories, and then after Harry told him he used a memory charm, he was like, "Oh, that's probably why this dude's such a phony, big fat phony, if you will."
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Dumbledore then asks Ron to take Lockhart away so he can speak to Harry alone. Dumbledore starts off thanking Harry for his incredible loyalty that summoned Fawkes to him. And then they get into Harry and Voldemort's similarities. And Dumbledore tells him that he can speak Parseltongue because Voldemort unintentionally left part of himself inside Harry when he died. But the real difference is that Harry chose Gryffindor, not Slytherin, because it's our choices that define us. So that's the real difference between Harry and Voldemort. He then tells Harry to look closer at the sword, and it's Godric Gryffindor's sword, and only a true Gryffindor could have summoned it. So at this point, Jared, did you have any sweet takes about this revelation to us?
I don't think he knows which revelation.
The revelation about
that he picked it.
no, that Voldemort unintentionally left part of himself inside Harry when he died. That's what Dumbledore's what would you call that? Hypothesis or summation, whatever.
Summation sounds right.
I did not see that coming. I didn't realize that was possible. Apparently, in Magic World, you can just give part of you to you.
I guess so. That's what he said.
So do you think Harry and Tom Riddle's voice sounded exactly the same then? Because he can speak Parseltongue, so you think Voldemort just gave his voice box to Harry?
The speaking Parseltongue and speaking English is different, right? You're just saying he gave him his voice box?
I don't know.
He's trying to confuse you.
So dumb. Can I
That's
have
why-
your
that's why I said he
6 feet 4 inches tall too?
That's why he speaks Parseltongue, right?
I feel like Parseltongue is like a charm. It's like a
magic.
It's a magic trick.
It's a magic trick.
Okay. Well, Taylor, is there anything you want to add to this conversation yet, or no?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So just as their conversation is winding down, Lucius Malfoy bursts in furiously with Dobby at his heels. He starts going off how Dumbledore dared to come back, but it turns out that Malfoy threatened to curse the families of the school counselors if they didn't vote Dumbledore off. Some serious blackmail going on. Is that blackmail? That's blackmail,
That's
right?
definitely blackmail.
Yeah. They continue on, and it's revealed Malfoy gave the diary to Ginny back at Flourish in blots. So, Jared, did you see that coming?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
We could flashback to when they were wrestling on the ground about it. Remember when they got the books?
That's when they all tipped over. Or
When
whatever?
Lucius had Ginny's book, and it was a secondhand book, I think. It was all ratty.
Yeah.
He was mocking him for it, and he must have slipped the diary in there and then gave it back.
Yeah.
Why do you think he did that?
Yeah, do you have any thoughts about that?
He set her up.
Why?
The look
Why?
on your face right now is just like...
Why would he do that, Jared?
I'm thinking. Good night.
Do you think
Well,
he's still
obviously-
in cahoots with you know who?
Maybe, but he's obviously trying to. I would think.
Or do you think he just had a dark artifact and he wanted to get rid of it?
No, he's trying to get at Harry or somebody through Ginny.
So do you think he's a follower of Lord Voldemort?
He has all those dark magic. What does he have? All this stuff.
Yeah, he's got a lot of hidden dark artifacts or something at his house under the floor or something.
Remember what was the other place? Not Flourish and Blots.
I don't know. Did we go to that place?
Nocturne
in this one?
Alley?
Did we go to that place in this one?
Remember Nocturne Alley?
Did we go to that place in this one? I don't think we did.
I think so.
Maybe we did. Let me check.
Pretty sure the beginning he used flu part at the beginning of this book. Yes.
Oh yeah, foo. Just
He
flew.
went flu, and then he ended up in a cabinet, and he.
Oh
saw
yeah,
stuff.
and there's a lot. There's like the hand. Yeah, there's like a hand of glory thing, and there's a bunch
He
of
saw
stuff.
Lucius and Malfoy, I think, in the
selling something. They're getting
selling
rid of
something
something.
to this dude.
That's not really here nor there though. This question is it?
I think so, because what if he was trying to sell him that book? I
Oh,
forget.
true. Yeah.
I forget what happened in that chapter, but I'm pretty sure they were in
I
there.
hardly remember that.
I want to go back and look at it now. I don't remember. I think there was something to that.
Okay.
So like maybe he was trying to get rid of it.
I don't know. Malfoy is not a good guy. It doesn't seem like. Not. And is he related to you know who? I don't know. Or
Well, related to?
Well, not related, but in cahoots with. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe
But it seems like-
maybe the editor can chime in here and about the Nocturne Alley thing. I don't remember.
Well, that's going to be you because I'm not editing.
You're okay.
Or maybe I will. We'll
I'm
see.
editor emeritus.
Oh, my word. All right, Jared, what about how Dumbledore just kind of lets Lucius off with no punishment here? He just kind of lets him go. Any thoughts about that?
I feel like Dumbledore knows Lucius is going to like be his own demise or something like that. Or
Ooh.
I don't know. I feel like Dumbledore knows more about he knows what Lucius has going on because he says something about if you start sneaking more dark arts stuff, that's not going to work. And I thought people didn't really know Lucius had like dark art stuff all over the place because when the Weasley, whatever he is, a part of the Mysteries of Magic or Magic Mysteries or whatever he is, Minister of Magic, wouldn't he expose that stuff or something like that?
Dumbledore?
No, Weasley, Mr. Weasley.
Oh, he's in something with Muggle artifacts, I think. I don't know. Maybe he would if they found stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
He probably didn't do anything because Malfoy's rich and powerful.
Powerful.
So powerful.
Yeah.
And he's got lots of connections, obviously, and influence. Even though he's from Slytherin, so I think people at this point be like, if you're Slytherin, and you're kind of
Not all
a bad
Slytherins
person.
are bad. Not all Slytherins are bad, Taylor.
Are you Slytherin?
Have you
No,
met
I'm
one that's
Gryffindor,
good?
bro.
Have we met one that's good so far? I don't think we have.
Draco.
He's a child. He's a
When are we ever
12-year-old
going to learn
child.
more about Hufflepuff?
Never, Jared.
Who knows?
No one cares about Hufflepuff.
Oh, I do.
So we
I
never
love Hufflepuff.
I think you gotta wait a few more books yet.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, Malfoy leaves, and Harry takes the diary. And then he takes off one of his socks and chases down Malfoy and gives him the diary and the sock inside the diary. So Malfoy throws the sock, and Dobby catches it. And by doing so, he frees Dobby by giving him a piece of clothing.
Magic.
Does this seem like a little bit of a technicality thing?
Slightly.
Like Mr. Malfoy's doing laundry at his house and drops the sock and Dobby just jumps under there and grabs it. Oh, I'm free. I can leave now. Like, come on.
So can house elves just not do laundry then, or what? Or is it like they have to be willingly given a piece of clothing and then they're free?
Well, Malfoy definitely didn't willingly give this to him.
Which is super random. Like, why not?
Wouldn't there have to be
something
some sort
else?
of like intention behind it? Like, I'm giving you this as a token of freedom, other than throwing this over my shoulder and you happen to catch it. Like, what if it just like landed on his head or something? He's like, "Oh, I'm free."
I
Did
don't
Dobby
get it.
tell us earlier how he could be free? So I was trying to remember this. I
Yeah.
could not
I
remember
think
how.
really early on, Carrie probably asked him because he wears a pillowcase because they don't wear clothes because they're not supposed to touch laundry or not supposed to be around clothes. So he wears a pillowcase as clothing.
Yeah, there is
So
something.
Harry's like, "Why are you wearing a pillowcase?"
I think it did
Nobody's
get
like-
brought up.
Because I can't touch clothing.
I don't think he says that.
Pretty sure that's verbatim what J.K. Rowling wrote. So
Because I can't touch clothes. Especially the unmentionables.
But, like, why would she pick that? Obviously for this part of the book, but she could have picked, like, you get scratched behind your right ear and then you're free. She could have literally picked anything, but for some reason she picked clothing. It's kind of weird.
She didn't pick it, Taylor. This is real life stuff. This is just a documentary. So this actually is like,
Whatever.
she doesn't get a say.
That's true.
Anyways. So they go back to the Midnight Feast, and they win the House Cup again thanks to Ron and Harry's 200 points a pop. And exams also get canceled, which is pretty sweet. Malfoy is also removed from the school governor board, and it seems like everything is back to normal. We also find out that the thing Ginny was going to tell them about Percy, did you see this coming, Jared? Is that he was macking hardcore with Penelope Clearwater.
Just macking
Yep.
in those rooms. So we wondered what he was doing up in his room at the Burrow. Percy Weasley was writing
To
his dear beloved.
dearly beloved Penelope, it's been 6 winter nights since I've seen you last.
Who is Penelope?
She's a Hufflepuff, isn't she?
I don't know.
I think she's a Hufflepuff.
A
She's-
Ravenclaw?
She was a
She's a prefect.
she was a prefect that got petrified, and that's why Percy was all down and out about everything.
Not because he could get petrified, but because his
It's Ravenclaw.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's Ravenclaw. Colin, get it right.
Ravenclaw? Oh, she's got long, flowing black hair, eyes as bright as the moon.
Really smart.
Really smart 'cause she's in Raven. She's good at riddles.
Mhm.
Here's a riddle for you, Jared. What gets wetter the more it dries?
A towel.
Oh,
No.
you're good.
That's the oldest riddle.
All right, I'll get a better one. Quick riddle time. What has 2 hands and a face, but has no legs?
2 hands in the face.
Yeah.
The sun.
Nope.
Clock.
Oh, you got it. Taylor, you're bad at these.
I got a good one. Why did little Susie drop her ice cream?
She had no arms.
No, Colin, that's terrible. Because she got hit by a bus.
Oh, I don't think should go down this road.
Oh, I love anti-jokes.
Okay. In the book, so the book then ends with Harry giving Ron his phone number and then walking back into the Muggle world.
That's it?
Yeah,
We're
that's
done
it.
already?
That's it.
What the world?
So, Jared, how about this book? What are your thoughts about this book?
Enlightening, I guess.
You remember it?
No, hardly.
It's that documentary, man.
So now it's time for the...
Hold on. We didn't finish wrapping up the book. We asked one question.
Well, I mean, it was... Yeah, go ahead.
How would you compare this book to the first book?
I don't remember the first book.
Okay, quick
Quirrell.
run
Now
of the first time. Quirrell gets his face burned like
Oh
bacon.
yeah. This one was better.
This
book
one was better? You did like this one better?
murdered by an 11-year-old.
The first book took too long to get into.
Quirrell gets murdered. And Harry kills Quirrell. Okay, so you would put this one above the last book.
Yes, but it's also newer and fresher in my mind. But I put this one above that one.
Okay, who would you say is your favorite character to this point?
Harry.
Okay, who's your second favorite?
Dumbledore.
Really?
Yeah, Dumbledore.
Okay.
He's the man.
What about your Weasley rankings? We said we'd bring back the Weasley rankings. Now I'll give you a list. We got Percy, Fred, George, Ron, and Ginny.
Do we know Bill works at the bank yet? We've probably heard that at some point.
I probably did at some point.
I have never heard that.
I think that's actually in the next one.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Spoiler. He has a brother Bill and a brother Charlie.
Well, Ron and George, I think are probably towards the bottom actually.
Ron and George?
Ron?
No, George. What's the two
Fred?
brothers? Fred and George.
Oh,
Fred
man.
and George.
Fred and George are towards the bottom.
I think because we haven't. Other than that, they're goofballs.
Yeah, they're the best goofballs.
It does
ever.
kind of seem right up your alley, not going to lie, Jared.
Yeah.
I am from Hufflepuff.
That name just sounds bad. Hufflepuff. So many F's. So Fred and George are at the bottom. Where does Ginny rank? I have a fun fact about Ginny.
Yeah, I'll get there in a second.
Okay.
I got that coming.
Ginny could be at the top. Sure.
Whoa!
But she has had
She's at the top?
She's had the most action.
I would say Percy's had the most action. He was macking with Penelope. But, okay, so Ginny's...
Well, we don't know what Harry and Ginny have been doing yet either.
Oh, you think Harry and Ginny are going to...
You think they stayed down in the chamber?
Oh, okay. This is supposed to be rated E for everyone.
I think
G?
PG. We can keep PG.
PG.
PG-13.
Okay, so you have Ginny at the top. You have Fred and George at the bottom. You have Percy and Ron left.
Ron and then Percy.
Ron,
You have Ron and then Percy?
So Percy's number 3.
Percy, pickle up my butt, Percy?
Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know. Percy.
No, hey, that's fine. It's
He's
his
just
opinion.
he's just a prefect that's making.
He's just
making
trying to
out.
do good, right?
Yeah,
He's misunderstood.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a misunderstood octopus. Everyone has their thing. Okay. Anyways,
And Ginny's smart, and Ron seems to just copy whatever Harry does.
Ginny's smart? You think so? She just started reading this diary.
she did have
This
communications
dark
with
diary
something
that
that
was
did not
just-
have a brain,
Oh yeah.
and you couldn't see where it was. And then she got taken over literally by
She
Lord
almost
Voldemort.
she could have killed people. I think
Yeah, no,
if
I
that
said
puddle
this
wasn't
in
there,
my
Mrs.
mind when
Norris
I
would
read
have been
this.
dead.
In my mind when I read this, I thought Ginny figured it out.
Oh,
Because-
that was your hot take, and that's why she got taken.
From previous, I said when she came with Percy and she knew what Percy was doing, I thought she knew something about how, and then she figured out how to get down there.
Oh.
And I kind of forgot about the whole. She got.
She
Taken.
got manipulated.
Taken into the, yeah,
You
whatever.
forgot like the main part.
yeah, the main
He got
part.
manipulated by Riddle.
Yeah, I think we did.
Either
also,
way, she ended up down there.
yeah, we did also skip over the part of the book where Harry picks up his phone and calls it and says, "I don't know who you are or where you're from, but I will find you, and when I do, I will kill you."
Enter swag here.
Swag Harry. Oh yeah, insert clip of Harry being swagged out.
Yes.
It's a summary of what happened in the chamber. We'll just say that. And insert it now.
Oh yes, where are we? Oh, Harry pulls his arm out with the sword and just drops it and goes, "It's alright, guys. I got this. No problem. I'm the chosen one. It's what I do. I own this joint. Can't touch me, Tom Riddle. I'll show you what I'm all about." He walks over to Ginny, grabs that tooth, and just stabs that book. And he's swagging out.
Haha, jokes.
Hope you enjoyed that. Jared has no idea what we're talking about.
Not a clue.
Okay. Anyways, the next part. Shoo-doo-doo-da-ba-doo-doo-da. Shoo-ba-doo, shabba-da-doo-ba-doo. It's facts from Taylor.
Oh yeah.
Go,
sure.
Taylor!
So Ginny Weasley, the name Ginevra, is a derivative of the name Virginia? Ginevra, Virginia.
Derivative, like an English term. I'm thinking
No,
like
calculus.
or a calculus term,
So-
or whatever.
What's the point?
So the point is,
So wait. So you're saying if you graph Ginevra
if you took the integral of Ginevra turns into Virginia, integral of Virginia, virgin. So therefore, Ginevra is an integral of the word virgin. And what do we know about virgins? Back in the day, the damsel in distress was normally a virgin. And who takes the damsel? A dragon. Who comes and saves them? The knight in shining armor, Harry. How about that?
Harry was not wearing any.
Anyways, what I'm trying to say is J.K. Rowling picked that name, I believe, because of the fact that there's damsels in distress. They're normally virgins, and
That is such a stretch.
Yeah, you sure?
It
To
was
get
a
from
stretch.
to get
It
from
is a stretch.
Ginny to virgins.
no, Ginny. Okay, we've missed a step.
You missed
Ginny.
Virginia, the
Ginny-
state.
No, it is. It is.
Okay,
Ginny,
are you sure?
Ginevra, Virginia. That's not that big of a stretch.
Ginny is her name actually Ginevra?
Yeah, Ginevra.
well, that's fun to
Winifred Weasley. Actually, that's Dora Winifred Weasley. Dora Winifred.
Breed. Are you sure it's not because she's a redhead and it's derivative of ginger?
Maybe
Cut that out. Okay, cut that out.
Maybe that's what it is.
Anyways, it's that time again, Taylor. We're ready. We wrapped up this book. Any other questions?
What's your favorite book so far?
He just said, "Is this one?"
Oh, You did?
because it's the most recent, and he didn't remember what happened in the first one.
Do you remember what happened in the first one?
I said the first one took too long to explain everything what was going on.
It did take a little bit.
I mean, that's what you expect from a series of books.
Yeah.
Gotta set the
Okay.
plot.
So yeah, I guess another quick question. Maybe you don't have an answer to it yet, but do you have any expectations of where the series is going to go from here?
So
Hopefully this doesn't turn into a...
we had 2 books so far. At the end of each book, Harry faces Voldemort in some way. What do you think's going to happen at the end of the next book?
Right, that's what I was saying. I said I hope this doesn't turn into one of those... What are those series? The
Hardy Boys.
Hardy Boys, yeah. Lord Voldemort rises to power, kills another dude. Harry saves the day.
At the conveniently around exam time every year.
And wins the House Cup. Stupid House Cup. That thing is worthless.
Okay.
Somehow they get awarded 200 points each, and they win.
I mean, it could have been 400 points.
Well, it probably was just conveniently just enough.
Yeah,
1 point above.
They win by 10
neck
points.
and neck until
Every year.
They beat him by 5 points. Is that what they beat him the first year?
10.
Neville
They
got
beat him by
5
10.
points.
They beat him by 10.
10 points.
He got 10 points with me. Okay. Well, then it is time for our
Fan favorite.
Fan favorite. Dun 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 dun.
Dun,
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Judge the book by the cover. Welcome to Judge the Book by the Cover.
Doing the same voice, okay? That works.
I didn't know what voice to do. We're gonna stick with this voice. Jared, here's the book.
Book number 3.
Book number 3.
Read the title, Jared.
Whoa.
Read that title.
And the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Okay, please describe the cover to us.
It's a horse bird. The bird kind of looks like a penguin, or like it was a big build. I'm trying. I know what kind of creature it looks like.
A mythical creature?
No.
No?
I mean, the horse bird does, but I'm just going off the head of this creature right now. But
Maybe
I gotta
some sort of...
I gotta pull up the cover so I can follow along.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
man, what does that look like?
So it's a horse bird.
Horse bird with an eagle head.
Eagle! That's different than a penguin.
Well, yeah, I think it's an eagle.
Yeah, that's very different than a penguin.
I'm going with an eagle.
Oh, yeah, I would think so. Definitely not a penguin. Sticking with a bird theme, though.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's got a beak.
Yep.
Pointed beak.
Oh, I'm talking the last book.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you
They've
got a horse.
upgraded. They've upgraded from a pink flamingo to a horse bird. It's flying through the air. And Harry and Ginny are on it.
Ginny?
Ginny, I think. Is
Okay.
she redheaded?
Yeah, she's redheaded. Okay. Anything else?
And there's a dog chain, that Ginny is holding.
Yeah.
So maybe they have a pet horse bird?
Okay.
Either way, the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yep.
Isn't that where, what's his name is?
Who? Hagrid?
Hagrid.
Yeah.
So maybe they're gonna go
Yeah, so...
there with
you're
this
missing
horse
a key
bird.
fixture, a key image. Component. See anything else going on here?
Lord Voldemort's in there.
No, it's Lord Voldemort. It's him.
Well, there's a shadow.
Okay. That's a lot different than it's Lord Voldemort.
Could be Dudley.
It could be anyone. It's Lord Voldemort. It could
Somebody
be.
you don't even know.
Maybe it is Lord Voldemort.
It's definitely Lord Voldemort.
Okay. Okay.
Anyways, a shadow is underneath the horse bird. And right next to some bricks, I think.
Okay.
But there is like looks like big window panes with orange behind it, like kind of like a fire's behind a window pane,
Okay.
of which this shadow is in.
Interesting.
All right. So now, what's your?
Harry's wearing a cape again. Why is he always wearing capes?
He's a knight.
Oh, it's probably a gown.
Probably his invisible cape.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's also sponsoring Adidas.
Yes, he is too. I never noticed that. He's wearing some Adidas shoes. Oh man.
Good catch. Is that about it? I think so. Horse bird. Oh.
So what do you? So then, Prisoner of Azkaban. You know that's where Hagrid was. There's a horse bird, and Lord Voldemort's in the background. What? Any sort of guesses as to what's going on?
Maybe Lord Voldemort enters Hagrid.
Whoa. That's new.
I legitimately no idea.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. That's fine. I'm going to tell you right now, this book is much better than the first two. That's all I'm going to say.
Is that a plug for me to keep reading? Or
Yes.
Yeah, this one will take. I think this book goes a little bit. It builds up a little faster than the other one does.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a longer book. So all you listeners out there, you'll have to get on our man Jared's case. Otherwise, this could take us 2 years to finish.
Just this book.
Just this book. I'm just kidding, Jared. I'm sure you'll get done faster than that.
But now we're
We're
2/7 of the way done.
Yeah, that's 0.285714, 285714, 285714, 285714.
What?
Repeating percent. Isn't it?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, yes. See, Jared knows what's
How
up.
do you
Point
know
one four
that?
two eight five seven would be one, and then
Yeah.
2.
Mental math. I'm a walking calculator, man.
Oh my, I would never know that.
I went to college once.
Nice.
Okay. Any other things that we need to pick at before we sign off for
Yeah, I
this
feel
one?
like you guys are hating on my Ginevra segment there. Trying to give some information.
Hey, no, that's good. That's
Damsel in distress, saved by a dragon, aka a basilisk.
good. Not the same animal.
Similar reptilian animal.
They're definitely both dragons and basilisks in this book.
Okay, whatever.
And it wasn't a dragon.
But Harry is the knight in shining armor. Comes
He
to
wasn't
save the damsel in
wearing.
distress.
He wasn't wearing
Named
armor. He had a
Ginevra.
hat and a robe.
He had a sword.
He did have a sword.
And the next one, he's riding a horse eagle. I mean, that's a knight if I've ever heard of one. Anyway.
Taylor, if I got that mad every time I said something, we wouldn't be doing this podcast.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we can wrap it up then. So, thanks for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to rate and review us if you haven't already. It may not seem like much, but it really does help us out. We also have a Facebook, a Twitter, which we've been updating at Keepers Pod. If you want to take the next step in supporting the show, there's always Patreon. Taylor, what's the link for that?
Please hold. Patreon.com.
Sound a little bit more excited about it, please.
I don't remember what it is.
Patreon.com/SecretKeepersPod.
No, wait a minute. Yeah, patreon.com // I never know the difference. / Secret Keepers Pod.
Okay. And you can become a patron and gain access to.
Right now we have one patron.
We do. We do have one patron.
And I know him by name.
As do I. Anyways, that's all for now, though. So until next time, we solemnly swear we'll be up to no good.
Become a patron and we'll say your name on this podcast. Woohoo!
Oh, I forgot. We were supposed to give a shout out to our listener, Abby.
Abby,
big shout out to Abby. She's a big time listener. We were supposed to do that earlier in this episode. I missed.
Keep listening. Maybe you'll get the next shout out.
No, and then you'll be the next contestant on The Prices.
No, just do the outro. Bye.
I solemnly swear. Yep.
Awesome.